I'm about to share with you a 10-step process I use to grow a coaching business from 0 to 20K a month consistently. Most coaches only make 3 to 5K a month, and not because they don't know how to coach. It's not because they don't have the skills, but because they don't have a process that can take them step by step on exactly what they need to do at each stage of growth that they're in. And what we're going to be sharing here is the step-by-step process that I've used with hundreds of clients that I've worked with so far to grow from 0 to 20K a month consistently. And if you stick to the end, I'm also going to share a bonus step on what to do to grow beyond 20K once you get there. All right, how to get to 20K a month with coaching, the complete roadmap. So, as the saying goes, all roads can lead to Rome, right? So, I'm not saying this is the only way to get to 20K a month. This is one of the best ways that I've found for myself and for hundreds of coaches that I've worked with so far. So, stick with me and I will show you how. So the first step is you're going to use or learn a high income skill that people already pay for. So if you already are a high performer from a specific area, let's say, I don't know, you're coming from a previous job that you had a Facebook, for example, right, in tech. Now you can get that skill in the executive space, in the tech space, and you can turn that into um, something you can offer to other people. If you don't have um, like a past in certain area where you are a high performer, where you already developed good skills, then you're gonna have to learn those skills, right? So pick a skill that you want to learn, and it's a high income skill, and spend some time investing yourself to learn that skill, right? So your goal here is to acquire a monetizable skill inside an existing market. Don't try to reinvent the wheel here, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to choose a skill in one of these three big niches. We're talking about health, wealth, or relationships, right? That can be fitness, nutrition, hormones. That could be business, marketing, credit, investing. That could be life coaching, marriage coaching, dating coaching. One that fits into those three tend to work better almost every single time, especially when you're going from 0 to 20, right? And pick something you're genuinely passionate about, something you enjoy, because you're going to be spending time on that, right? So if you pick something you don't enjoy, you don't like, you're going to find yourself struggling and doing this all the time. Then ensure this is in an existing marketplace, right? Where people are already spending money on this. Don't try to be the new Google or the new Apple coming up with like a perfect thing, right? This is the moment for you to start from scratch. So, next thing you're going to do, you're going to study people who are already succeeding in that space. What offers are they selling? But there's a caveat here, and it's a very important one. Very often I see coaches or people who are trying to start a new online business at the beginning when they're making 0 to 5 to 10K a month, and they're looking at what others are doing when they're way ahead of them, people who are making 50, 100K a month, 500K a month, millions. So they're looking at those people and they're trying to study them and imitate what they're doing, right? So yes, you could look at what people like Alex Hermosi or Cole Gordon or other people in the industry are doing right now. And you can always learn from them, but be careful in trying to imitate everything they're doing, because what they're doing now is not what they were doing when they were at 0 trying to start out. I'm going to repeat that again. What they're doing now is not the same strategies that they were using when they started out, right? So the difference is now they have a lot more experience, they have a big brands, they have big teams, they're helping them out, so they get to expand in so many different ways. what you're going to be doing is something different. Step two, offer a high touch, customized one on one service or done for you. So think about this. At this point, you don't have leverage with like big team working for you, with being able to leverage other people's time or anything like that. But you have one differentiator, which is your time. So you can offer customized one-on-one coaching, one-on-one service, or done for you services that you're gonna offer, right? For example, someone could ask you, what is the difference between working with you and Tony Robbins? Why would I go with you, who is not Tony Robbins, if I could go with him? Right. Well, in reality, you're probably not going to be able to work with Tony Robbins, as he doesn't work one on one with people. He has other people doing that for him. So, what I can do for you is I'm going to actually, care about you. I'm going to spend time working with you one on one. Right. So that's a big differentiator that you have at this point, that they wouldn't have with someone like Tony Robbins, which has proven processes, but you can get his time as easy as they could with other people. So this is what you're going to use right now, right? You're gonna prove your skill works by getting results for real people. So you're gonna remember the first step was to learn or use a new skill that you have. Now you're gonna offer that to other people. So you're gonna create an offer where you're going to have a lot of involvement with your clients. You're going to have weekly calls, personalized plans. You're going to have a lot of support, right? So try to over deliver at this point, because you do have the bandwidth and the time for this. And you're going to start with friends, family, and your warm network, which we're going to talk next. So at this point, you want to collect case studies, testimonials, get video testimonials from this. And if you are in the health or fitness space, even if it's like life coaching as well, um, you can get in-person experience before going online. That's another way to differentiate yourself too. Sometimes people want to get off of Zoom and they want to get more an in-person experience. You can offer that as well at the beginning. And so the first thing you're going to do is to focus on skill mastery, not scalability yet. You're going to look for results instead of followers. You're not trying to be the next Tony Robbins. You're trying to offer a one-on-one support that you can, do with people that are connected with you. Okay. So things to avoid at this point. Don't try to launch a group. You're going to have a hard time getting enough people to make enough money here to, get the next level. Don't try to go with low ticket at this point as well. It's very tempting for people to try to create low ticket offers. Stick with high ticket. It's your highest chance of getting to the next level for a business that could turn into a scalable business. And avoid underpricing yourself because of your insecurity, because of your uncertainty. That doesn't mean you have to come with crazy prices, but make sure you choose your prices wisely. And if you need help with that, you can always reach out to us and we'll help you with your offer. So another thing that is very important is don't change your offers every week or so. Sometimes uncertainty kicks in and then you're always tweaking, always changing your offer every single time. There's some room for flexibility at this point. That's fine. But just make sure you're not following like a shiny object syndrome where you're always trying something new, right? Stick with your plan to create consistency and you're going to get to the next step. Step 3, activate your existing network. This is a moment where we're going to be looking into leveraging the people that you already know. Okay, so the goal here is to book your first 5 to 10 clients without using paid ads. That's a big thing to avoid, by the way. A mistake that I've seen people making is when they're under 10K, they're making maybe 3-5K a month, and they try to do paid ads right away. And what ends up happening is either they don't put enough money on ads because they're afraid of it, so they put just a little bit, nothing happens, or they put a lot of money on ads and they waste their money because the ads are not going to do a miracle. They're going to optimize what's already working. Okay. Again, ads are not going to do miracles for you. You're going to optimize what's already working. So what you need to do here now is focusing on two things first. We're going to activate your existing networks. So you're going to make two lists. We're going to make a list for referrals, right? Those are potential referrals. Those are not necessarily your ideal clients, but they're friends, family members, people who know you really well, people who trust you, or just anyone that likes you. Okay, so another list you're going to create is for potential clients, right? Those are people that you know personally that they could be your ICP, they could be your ideal client persona, right? And you're going to message them directly. So I would say start with the referral list, because this is might be the first time you're doing this or not, but this is a really good way for you to warm up as well. You're going to be warming up with your referrals list, right? So you're going to reach out to people, start conversations with them, ideally on the phone. When you're talking to them, could be in person too. Try to avoid spamming people with generic mass messages asking for referrals. Do not do that. Just have real conversations where you share what you're doing and you ask if there's anyone they know that could benefit from having a conversation with me about coaching with you, right? So start with that. That's going to warm you up. You're going to get used to talking to people, asking for things, and seeing what works and what doesn't work. Be okay if things don't go your way. This is a moment for practice. Okay. Then you're going to jump into your list for potential clients. And then now you're going to also message them directly to, start conversations. Remember to be genuine. Ask questions, offer help, and then you can move into the next step. Okay. Then the third thing you're going to do, you're going to tap into local communities where your ideal clients usually hang out. That could be clubs, gyms, private dinners, networking events. It really depends on your ideal client. Where do they usually hang out? Who you can help. So focus on finding those places, and you're going to find people that you can help. Okay? So remember this. People you already know are the fastest path to cash flow. You don't need to try to find new people from the get go. First, leverage people you already have in your circle. Okay. Trust is at an all time low in the market nowadays. And the people you know, they already trust and like you. So that is your biggest advantage early on when you're trying to start a business. Okay. Step 4, learn how to sell on calls to warm leads now. Okay, there's a difference between selling to warm and cold leads. So you're going to start with the warm leads that come from the previous steps that we already discussed. So you're going to focus on turning your warm relationships into paying clients now. Okay, so use a conversational close at this point. You're going to build rapport. It doesn't mean you should lose yourself in rapport, right? Don't stay there only, but you definitely can leverage the rapport that you have. Then you want to identify their goals, their problems, ask questions, right? Explore what they've tried in the past, and offer a clear path forward. Remember, if they already trust you, they're going to listen to you most likely. Okay. So, but be direct about the offer. Okay. Don't try to beat around the bush and pretend nothing's happening. It's okay to be authentic and just say what you need to say. But always keep your tone, the way you're expressing yourself, very service oriented. You are there to help them. You're not trying to be sales or anything like that. I know sometimes people get in their head a little bit because you know those people. But if you focus on selling as a service, that you understand that you're serving those people and everything you're offering is supposed to be a win-win. You're there to help them, not to take from them. On the contrary, you're there to provide value. Then you're going to have a high chance of them receiving you really well and actually being very grateful to you. Okay. So lean on the existing trust that you already have because they already believe in you. Okay. And remember this, when people buy when they trust you and when they feel understood. So your job is also to make them feel heard and understood And you do that by asking good questions. Okay, so a couple things to avoid is rushing for the close. You try to go too fast just because now you think that they trust you, that you can skip all the steps and do, just go straight for the close. Don't try to do that. Still listen more than you talk and ask good questions. If you focus on those things alone, you're going to learn how to sell to warm leads, and that's going to be a really good warm up for you once you get to cold leads in the future. All right, step 5. This is the moment to start creating content strategically. Okay. At the beginning, you don't want to waste too much time on content, on website, on those things that are on the back end, because that's only going to distract you from revenue generating activities, right? There's a reason why this is step 5, because you already had 4 steps before this, meaning you already leverage your connections, you created an offer, you have a skill, you learn how to sell to those people, and you started having some traction now. Maybe you got a few clients, right, from your warm network efforts. Now, this is the moment where you're going to start creating content. Okay, so this is a situation where you want to build trust and authority with people who don't know you yet. Here is where you start planting seeds that can grow into sales months later, or sometimes, weeks later or days later. But there's a different game that you start playing here. Okay. So just start this after you got results with a few clients. And you start posting 3 to 4, 3 to 5 short form pieces of content a week, right? Use Facebook, LinkedIn, IG, and you're going to also do one long form piece of content a week, like a YouTube video or a podcast. Okay. And you can also cut those into short form contents later on to help you out, right? You can batch record content to save time. You can also be very spontaneous. For example, if you had an insight, just don't overthink, right? You just pick up your phone and start recording. Okay. And if you're going to batch it, just make sure you do as much as you can at that time, and then you go back into focusing on revenue generating activities after that. And then focus on providing value, right? Focus on ideal client problems. Like you teach, you inspire, you share proof, you are authentic when you're doing this. You're building trust, right? Just provide value. And don't try to go too broad where you're talking about things that are completely different than what you do. Stay around the topics that make sense to what you offer. Okay. And again, if you do that, you're going to be planting seeds for the future. Okay. So, a couple things to pay attention here. You don't want to chase virality at this point. You're just starting out. You don't need 100,000 followers or 1 million followers or anything like that. Okay, not even 10,000 followers. Right? If you have 1,000 people that engage with you, that are paying attention to you, that are liking your post or comment or just watching your stuff, that can be more relevant than having 10,000 people who honestly are not paying attention at all. Okay. Step 6, learn how to set calls, okay, primarily using DMs. So this is a moment where now you've been creating content, you already had results with some of your clients, you had conversations with several people that you know. So people are kind of watching what you're doing online as well, what you're sharing. And this is the moment where you're going to start setting calls using conversations online. Okay. So once your profiles clearly show what you do, you're going to use DMs to start conversations. You can also leverage texting, by the way. You can use SMS to reach out to people. If you get their phone number, whether that's through a networking or in-person event, you can always direct them to your socials, or you can start texting them, and that can lead into calls booked as well. Okay. So remember, when you're texting or when you're doing DMs, always focus on building rapport, determine any goals or problems they have, ask what they tried, in the past, then offer advice, invite to a call, right? I would personally avoid being spammy with, bringing an offer like right away, right? Don't message people and just first message send an offer immediately, right? Especially if that offer is something that involves a sale, right? If you want to offer some sort of like lead magnet or something like that that you're offering value, then that's a different story. There's room for that in certain cases. Um, Otherwise, focus on following this framework. Okay, approach them with an energy of how can I help, and they're gonna receive you way better. Okay, remember this: relationships create sales. Right. At the end of the day, it's not B2B, it's not B2C, it's H to H. It's human to human. Right. You're still talking to a human being. So focus on building those relationships, and that's going to create sales. Right. Um, it's about serving people. That's what makes it natural. Avoid pushing for a call before the trust is built. That can be problematic for you to get the results that you're looking for. If you focus on following the framework and building trust and coming from an energy of how I can help here, then you're going to see yourself getting good responses. All right, step 7: hire a VA once you are somewhere between $8,000 to $12,000 a month. Okay, this of course depends on a couple of factors like where you live, how much are your bills, like how much are you spending per month, right? If you have some room, you can hire a VA sooner or later, right? Don't hire one yet if you're not able to pay your bills and live, comfortably. Okay, so typically, that happens around $8,000 to $12,000 per month. This is very important because this is going to help you free up your time for high value tasks, right? You only have 24 hours a day like everyone else. So, this is where you're going to learn how to scale through OPT, right? Scale through leveraging other people's time. So, remember that every task that you delegate should free up time to make more revenue for you. Okay. So what you're going to do here is you're going to document everything that you do that can be delegated. That is more like admin tasks, managing your social media, posting, commenting, and managing any automation tools, DMing people, and following up with them. Okay. At least to a certain extent, you can systematize that. You can create an SOPs for this and help your VA to replicate this for yourself. Okay. So train them to handle non-revenue generating tasks so you can focus on sales and delivery. Okay. And then monitor their performance on a daily or weekly basis so you make sure everything is running well. Okay. Now, this is where I see people making a lot of mistakes. Okay. It's hiring without clear processes. They just hire the first person they talk to or the second person they talk to. Okay. And they hire without knowing how to manage them, without clear expectations, without a process, without the right SOPs, without learning how to manage them, without a scorecard. So if you don't know how to hire, you are going to make mistakes. I'm telling you, most likely, you're going to make mistakes. It's very rare that everything is going to run perfectly, right? Unless you've done this before, or you hire someone that can help you, direct you on this, right? So that's one of the things that we do. We help businesses want businesses to hire with the right systems in place to make sure that they can leverage people right away, put the right people in the right seats to take action in a way that gives you the business owner with a lot of leverage. Okay, so even if you don't hire anybody, make sure you create your processes for this as much as you can. Then another thing to avoid is expecting them to create the strategy for you, right? When you're starting at the beginning, you're not going to have leverage or like money, right? Or a brand to hire people that are A players, they're great at what they do, right? Once you're at that point, then it's a different game, okay? But right now, You're hiring people who probably don't know a lot about what they're doing. And if you expect them to create the whole strategy for you, that's going to be complicated, right? You're not going to know how to manage them. You're going to expect them to do everything right. And they're probably going to do things in a completely different way or wrong way. Okay. So, what what is to focus here is for them to execute your proven system that you already tried yourself or that you've hired other people to teach you on how to do it. Step 8, learn to sell on calls to cold leads. Okay, there's a big difference between selling to warm leads and cold leads. So sometimes I talk to people who think they're amazing salespeople, amazing closers. Okay, but if only close people who are in their network, people they knew already. Okay, so they're super confident. They're gonna come and tell you, well, my closing rate is 100%, or my closing rate is 80%. Okay, great, that's awesome. That's a great sign that you started really well, right? Now, once you start taking sales calls with cold leads, let's say you had ads running, for example, or you have cold outreach, or through messaging on social media or a cold email, something like that, right? And you have people coming to you that way, it's going to be a completely different story, right? They don't know you that well, they don't trust you yet, so it's going to work very differently. Okay. So take the skills that you've learned before, but now we're going to refine them and we're going to take this to the next step. Okay. So the goal here is to convert people who don't know you yet into high ticket clients, right? And we're going to use the same rapport problem solution structure to build trust quickly this time, because you don't have, weeks or months or years to build trust like you have with your friends or other people you knew. Now, you got to be prepared for objections here, though, right? You want to be able to handle objections and pre-handle objections. So cold leads will need more reassurance than other people, okay? And then always track your close rate and keep refining, keep recording your calls to make sure that you can learn from your process, okay? And you got to develop that skill. This is a very important skill that most business owners that are successful, they have developed that skill. They have developed that thick skin, and they got the reps and the data to develop this skill until it works well. Okay. All right. So just make sure you avoid treating them like warm leads, because they're not, and make sure you don't let rejection slow your momentum. This is going to happen. At this point, you're going to hear more no's than ever, right? So don't let the rejection stop you. This is a moment. This is something that I've learned when I was like knocking on doors back in the day when I used to do door to door sales, right? You cannot bring the energy from one door to the next one, especially if it's a no, right? So you're going to have to reset and come fully present to the next opportunity, okay? Same thing here. Just go collect no's and you're going to find some yeses. All right. So let's say at this point you're already over 10K a month. Okay. You're already making, at least 8 to 12K. You hire a VA. You are going to the next step here. You're trying to get from 10, 12, 15 towards 20K, right? So this is a moment where you're going to start repackaging into a scalable offer, right? You want to make sure you are not just staying on a one-on-one, and there's reasons for that. So because you want to serve more clients without burning out, you only have 24 hours a day. You cannot work with everyone one-on-one if you want to scale this to another level. Okay, so you're going to transition from pure one-on-one to a hybrid or a group program, right? So there's ways to do that. You can create a group program where you put everyone into a group. You can honor previous engagements, but everyone that is new get into a group, or you can have some sort of hybrid where instead of every week you're meeting with people, now you're meeting with them one-on-one, once every other week or once a month, where they also have a group, because now you have more clients and you can do that, right? That's how you start transitioning to this next model. Okay. Then you create written and video SOPs for onboarding, for delivery, for client success. You start structuring your company in a way, right, where you have processes for things. You're going to standardize your process. So your clients can follow the same journey or a similar journey, right? So you can use tools like Loom or other similar tools to create evergreen trainings for specific topics that you're going to be delivering to your clients as well. That's going to help. So remember this: scalability comes from systems, not just working more hours, right? It's not about busy work. It's about making sure you create the right systems. Okay. There is a sentence that I personally like a lot, right? Which is, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, right? And this is where you start building those systems, okay? So remember this, that every client should get the same core transformation, even if there's customization, right? You're creating a pattern with, there's a core transformation that is happening with all of your clients or most of your clients, okay? Then you got to remember this: you got to avoid staying in a fully custom one-on-one forever, because if you do that, then you're never going to be able to go to 20K or past 20K a month, okay? Um, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be that person, hey, this is all I want. I just want to work with people one-on-one, and I don't want to hire other people. I just want to work myself, and that's fine, right? Then this is where you should stay. But if you're looking to create systems and to grow to the next level, then you're going to have to start reshaping your offer to become more scalable. All right, this is where things can get even more fun when we're talking about getting ready for scaling. So, step 10: hire an assistant coach or a CSM, like a client success manager. Okay. So, the problem here, once you get to 20K or close to 20K, is that the business owner starts to become a bottleneck, right? They're stuck in fulfillment while they're also having to do sales, when they're doing lead generation and marketing and having to work on the business for all the important admin tasks as well. So there's a lot of hats that the business owner needs to wear, right? So you need to remove yourself from day-to-day fulfillment so you can focus on growth, right? That doesn't mean you don't do anything for delivering your services. Yes, you can still do like very important things, but you can't be on things that are super time consuming, right? Otherwise it's not going to grow. Okay. So you got to decide on the role that you're going to need first, right? So some people are going to get just an assistant coach, and they maybe pay the person per session or some sort of commission, something like that. um, but the problem with that is that they become very independent, and they only do the coaching, right? They handle client communication and coaching, and that's it, right? Now if you bring a CSM in-house, right, where they become part of your company now and they're working with you on this, they can help you with everything client related, right, including coaching as well. But they're going to come from onboarding, coaching, renewals, upsells, upgrading clients, tracking their progress, following up, right? They're thinking more like towards how can we have our company grow, right? Super important. So you need to create a clear job description, clear SOPs. Very important to have all the SOPs ready for this. And you're going to hire for attitude plus alignment, right? So the skill, it's hard to have people that have great skills at the beginning, right? Like A players if you're starting out with your first CSM. So make sure they're in alignment with your mission, with your values, and they have the great attitude, great energy, and you can teach them the skills at the beginning. If you don't have leverage to hire people with great skills already, okay. Again, if you're budget conscious, start part time and increase hours over time, okay. And make sure you keep, honestly, even more than weekly check-ins. You can meet with them 2-3 times a week, right? At the beginning, might even for the first few weeks might even be every day, right? Until it can become weekly, okay. But remember, if you're meeting with clients every day and then now you have a CSM doing that for you, so that's still a lot less time, right? When you're meeting with them once or twice a week eventually, right? Um, this is where we come in, by the way. So a lot of people are not sure how to do this. This is where a lot of businesses, literally start spinning their wheels and they get stuck around 15, 20K, 25K, sometimes more, sometimes less, but they get stuck here because they don't know how to get out of fulfillment. And this is your baby, right? You build your business, you are delivering those services, you get very attached to it, you have some control issues with it very often. So once you start learning how to leverage other people, that's how you grow, right? Where we come in is we typically help people recruit, hire, and train a CSM into your business, and we help you with all the systems for that. The SOPs, making sure you have the right tracking for this. We train the reps on this specifically so they know the things that they need to do to optimize the delivery of your services and renewals, retention, and so on. Okay, so if that's helpful for you, just reach out to us and we'll help you out with this. Okay. So remember, delegating fulfillment is a growth lever. It's not just a time saver. It's super important. It's a mindset shift that's going to take your business to the next level, right? And clients, at the end of the day, they care more about the results and the responsiveness that they're getting from your services, not whether it's you delivering every single time. Okay, so the more you free yourself from deliver it, the more you can work on the business instead of in the business, right? So be careful hiring without a documented process. Okay, it's very important. Don't micromanage them, and don't hire too late. Right? Once you do this, you're gonna skyrocket. So these were the 10 steps on how to get to 20K a month with coaching. Right? This is a complete roadmap that if you follow from start to finish, each step from 1 to 10, and you actually take action on those things, you will get to 20K a month. Right? Sooner or later, if you stick with it, you're consistent, you're going to get there. If you have roadblocks along the way, you can always reach out and receive help from other coaches who have done this in the past. And we're always here to help you out with that as well. Now, I did promise you that I will give you a bonus step at the end to go beyond the 20K a month mark, right? So this bonus tab is right here. This is where you're going to start running ads, right? This is a moment where now you have systems in place, you have proven your offer, you learn how to sell, you have a social media presence with content you're creating, you already have a VA working with you probably already have a CSM at this point that's helping you with fulfillment. So you have an engine, you have a system that's working that you can use to scale, right? This is where we start putting money on ads and you start testing things out to be able to scale to the next level. Okay, if you do this too early, you're gonna burn your cash. You're gonna have a really hard time. I've done that. I've been there. I've seen people who have done that in the past, and it's not a very good thing to do. Okay, so what you're gonna do here is we're gonna look for a client acquisition system that can be predictable, right? So ads will amplify your best performing organic content for the most part. Okay, so you can run ads that are like free value ads where you're offering trainings, lead magnets. You're basically amplifying your reach with content that has performed well already, with organic content. Okay, or you can have direct offer ads like a VSL, right? For example, like a direct pitch in a way. So if you have a specific niche, that could work well, right? Now, when it comes to hiring setters or closers, that can come together at some point, right? Especially the setters. Once you have enough leads coming in from your ads, then now a setter can help you out uh, to take care of those leads. Some cases you can promote your VA to become that full-time setter for this, or you might want to hire a separate person to be that setter. Okay. Um, just there's one caveat here, like with ads, sometimes you're going to spend money and it's not going to work right away, right? In some cases it could, in other cases it might take iterations of you warming up and learning what works, what doesn't work. Not only you, but also, for example, Facebook, if you're doing Facebook ads, right? Um, so I would say once you're between 20 to 30K a month, and at this point you are trying to scale, you've done enough ads so you have leads coming in, that's when you hire a setter. Okay. Now a closer, that is the last thing you're going to think about high. Okay, do not hire a closer at 20K a month. Right, most closers make around 10% commission, sometimes more, depending on the kind of offer. Sometimes even less depending on the offer. But for the most part, they're making on average 10%. So if you're only making 20K a month, you're gonna make 2K a month. Right, that's not enough. Most closers are looking for at least minimum 5K. Most of the time, they're looking for opportunities to make 10K plus, right? But there's closers out there that are okay with making around 5K or more. And then they can come in a company that are making that to help them grow. So look for a closer once you're making around 50 to 60K a month and you have enough sales calls that almost you can't take them anymore, right? And you've done that enough that you know how to close, you know how to do that, and now you have sales process in place. You just need to find someone else to do it for you. Okay, that's the moment. So once you're at that point, you're good to go. Make sure you track everything well with your KPIs, and you can scale to the next level, right? So with all of that being said, here were the 10 steps for you to get to 20K a month consistently, plus a bonus step for you if you want to go beyond that. And I'll see you guys on the next video.